Welcome back to the Question Your Induction mini challenge. And I am here to help you question your induction because 'tis the season when moms get pressured into induction, and often it's unnecessary, which then leads to more complications, more unnecessary pain, trauma, and even a C-section. So why is it called induction season? Well, that's because it's the time of year when it's the holidays. And typically what happens is you see more complications coming up, such as low fluid, big baby. Sometimes they even just will outright say, you don't want to give birth around the holidays, so let's schedule your induction so that you can have your baby by Christmas. Sometimes they're completely transparent about it, but there are always risks to induction. In fact, Hensi Goer talks about the risks of induction, as do many, many other birth workers out there. You may have already seen that. And there's two dichotomies. There's the medical birth community that wants to be risk averse. And then there's the natural birth community that's like, I'm not going to trust anything that anybody says about induction. But the fact is that sometimes induction is necessary. And I talked about that inside of the previous video in this challenge, because this is a challenge. Make sure you're checking the actual playlist on the YouTube channel to get the full overview. The first video, I talked about the books that I'm going to be referencing and a little bit of my story and the structure of the challenge. The video after that, I talked about your rights. You have the right to informed consent and refusal. You have the right to say no to induction. No matter what is actually on the law books at the time, you have that right. It's a human right. Nobody can take that right away from you. Even if they think they can, they can't. There's a different way to play this. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com. I am here to support you. The other thing is this a complication, a deviation, or a variation? We covered that yesterday or whenever you're watching this video. And I also mentioned about getting the Empowered Birth Toolkit. This is probably the most valuable resource you could have access to. So you just go to empoweringmomsbirth.com/toolkit, and that will give you access to our weekly newsletter on empowered birth wisdom and empowered mom magic, because how you come to your birth is how you come to other aspects of your life. And whether you're birthing a business, birthing a baby, a creative project, a movement, an impact, a new version of yourself, I'm here to guide you as the empowered mom, the empowered sovereign mom. So I have the map to sovereign motherhood, and I also have the map to empowered birth. And I combine these inside the Empowered Mom Toolkit. And then depending on what level you're at and where you're wanting to go, you can go and draw from those resources. In Empowered Birth Wisdom, there are two resource guides. One is the 5-step decision-making framework that was a bonus with your Empowered Birth. I do put all of my book bonuses inside of the toolkit itself. The other is the How to Make an Informed and Empowered Decision-Making Workbook, which will help you to make a decision around induction, including how to advocate and how to also get your partner on board and how to work through your fears as you go. So this workbook is based off of the coaching methods that I use with my clients to help them make informed decisions, because I believe you need to come to your birth from a place of power, not a place of fear. We'll also be talking about your fears in the next video after this one. But for now, what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you first to the typical way of making decisions. You may have already heard of BRAIN: benefits, risks, alternatives, intuition, now or nothing. However, I take on a different tactic. Now, I didn't make this up myself. I saw this with other birth workers and what they were doing. So I didn't make up NABRI. I don't know the original source of NABRI. What I do know is that it's circulated around, and psychologically, this one makes more sense than BRAIN. Because if you're going with BRAIN, here's what happens. What are the benefits of induction? You've already been sold into the product. If you're looking at this from a consumer mindset, what are the benefits of me buying this? Well, your care provider is going to give you a long list of all of the benefits. And then that is automatically going to program your brain to see the benefits first. Then you ask, what are the risks? They may gloss over the risks. They may not tell you all of the risks. And they may focus only on the risks of you not inducing instead of the risks of induction itself. Even if you ask for the risks of not inducing, they can sound really scary. When you ask, what are the alternatives? Oftentimes they will say, well, we can wait, but then there's this risk, this risk, this risk. And again, you've already been sold onto the product. So by the time you come to your intuition, you have already been pre-sold. And if you've been pre-sold, then you're less likely to say, well, what if we do nothing? Because you were already told at the beginning the benefits of inducing. So this then works on your mindset in different sources of fear, which I'm going to be talking about tomorrow or whenever you're watching this. So it's the next video in the series, and it's going to help you understand this psychologically a little bit better. But what you really need to do is have NABRI. What if we do nothing? If you have a complication and you happen to have cholestasis, and you're like, what if we do nothing? Well, if we do nothing at the level that you're at right now, you're going to have that severe itching. It's going to continue. If you continue to stay pregnant for a certain amount of time, this complication could come up. The same thing if you have chronic high blood pressure and the numbers are elevated. Well, what if we do nothing? Well, at the level that you're at currently, your blood pressure is this. It's a little concerning, but if we can get your blood pressure down, then yeah, we could wait. Versus, oh my gosh, no, you are like high through the levels, like you're close to preeclampsia, you've got protein in your urine, we need to act now. If you ask the question, what if we do nothing? Do we need to act now? That will help assess whether you have a true complication, you have a deviation where there could be possibilities of something coming up in the future, or if it's a variation and they're just kind of trying to sell you into induction, but you could say no. Such as big baby. Oh yeah, well, what if we do nothing? Well, your baby could get too big to fit through the pelvis. Well, that is very, very unlikely. That might possibly maybe happen. And Rachel Reed also addresses big baby inside of her book, Why Induction Matters. In fact, many people have addressed the big baby myth. This is a very prevalent one. This is one of the most common reasons why they scare moms into induction, especially first-time moms. They say the baby's too big, the baby's too small, low fluid, too much fluid, going past 40 weeks. This might possibly maybe happen. And when you are already sold on the benefits and you have heard the risks, you're not able to focus on, wait a minute, this might not even be an issue at all. Why would I induce for something if there's not even really a possibility of this happening to me? And that's why it's important to start with nothing. The next thing is A, alternatives. Okay, you're saying I need to induce. I don't need to make a decision right now. And you're saying you want to induce with the Pitocin. But what are the alternatives to that? Could I maybe do some natural methods to maybe move my body along? Because I have a deviation and I do want to have my baby by a certain point based on my risk factors. Versus the alternatives of induction methods being told to you by your care provider. You're now looking at natural, lower level interventions first. And then if things really need to go that direction, you can choose the Pitocin. You can choose to have your waters broken. You can choose to have a C-section. You don't have to take all of it. And finally, that allows you to then tune into your intuition. You have now learned whether you need to act now or whether you could even just do nothing at all right now. You also know about the alternatives and what that allows you to do for waiting. So now you are from a calm, grounded place. That is where you can tune into your intuition. And then that's when you can look at the benefits of inducing versus not inducing. And again, the decision-making framework that I put out inside of the book bonuses and inside the Empowered Birth Toolkit, as well as the decision-making workbook, will help you to sift through and write that down in a concrete way. So then you have the benefits, and then you also assess the risks. And again, 3 good books that can help you do that. Why Induction Matters by Rachel Reed, Labor Induction, Why, When, and How by Hensi Goer, and In Your Own Time by Dr. Sarah Wickham. There's also another book, I haven't gotten it in my possession yet, by Dr. Sarah Buckley that also talks about induction. There's lots of resources on induction. There's lots of articles written by midwives, written by doulas, even written by nurses who have talked about the dangers of induction. They are really trying to combat this induction happy culture. But if you're coming to your birth from a place of fear, you're not likely to be able to do that. So you've got the alternatives, you've got the benefits, you've got the risks, and now you can tune into your intuition. Because you started with nothing, you weighed the alternatives, you've got the benefits, you've got those risks. Now you have a full picture. You now can tune into yourself and ask, what do I want to do in that moment? So your action step now is to start creating your what if plans. Because obviously there are going to be some hard lines in the sand. What are they for you? If you need some help, you can also check out the Write Your Empowered Birth Plan mini challenge, because that will give you an overview of what you really need to know. Because when making a decision around induction, that is deviating from true natural birth. You are no longer having a physiological birth if you are inducing. So that is pulling away from aim for true natural birth, pull back as much as needed. Induction is your backup plan. So to create your backup plan, you need to now know about the different complications that are true for you, which we already covered in the last video when we were talking about complications, variations, and deviations that could come up. So now you can weigh those risks and benefits. And if you would like any help and support with that, email the team, hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com. I'm happy to help you. If you are a self-study VIP subscriber and you have purchased the course, then you have access either to a 15-minute laser coaching session, which you would have expected to have done the work to be able to get on the books, and we would be looking at your workbooks. You can also try to get in on a one-off session and purchase that. But again, we look at your workbook and see, do you need to have that session with us, or can we just give you a resource? We keep those sessions for the moms who need it most. We keep those sessions for our premium coaching clients and for our graduates of our program. We keep those sessions open for those moms who have purchased self-study VIP of your Empowered Birth Academy, because we have a 45-minute graduation session where we laser focus on what you need to know to be able to plan and get your empowered birth. And then if you want to work with us further, we can do one-off sessions, or you can enroll in one of our coaching programs. That's why we have those 3 paths. We really want you to be able to utilize that information. So information is free, and we charge only for access to me and the coaching queens. So empowering moms is all about choice. We want you to come to your birth and to your buying decisions from a place of power, not a place of fear. I'm not going to sell you into anything that you don't need. So if you have a question, you can reach out to us, hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com, and either myself or one of my team members will get back to you within 3 to 5 business days. If you are a newsletter subscriber and you do have the Empowered Birth Toolkit, well, then we will get back to you within 1 to 2 business days. And if you want to also send us your homework, that is a self-study VIP. So we may even ask you questions and say, hey, did you go through this free workbook? And if you did, if you already have your decision making and you're looking for an additional resource, we can just send that to you. We don't need to get on a call. So we are here for you to help you because I believe every birth can and should be a beautiful and empowering experience. And you don't need to come to your birth from a place of fear. Let's put you in your power. So if you found value in this video, please pay it forward. Like, share, subscribe, pass this on to other moms. A drop in the ocean creates ripples. Many ripples create waves, and enough waves can change the tide. Here at Empowering Moms, I'm all about changing the tide. So thank you so much for watching. And next, we're going to tackle the 4 sources of fear and how they apply to induction. So if you are already familiar with the Reset Your Mindset for Empowered Birth Mini Challenge, which is available inside of the YouTube playlist, then you're also going to be able to see the deeper dive with induction. Okay, so that's coming up next. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.